We're going to go ahead and continue with the Chamber of Commerce hearing. Before us today, we have Mr. Ralph Schultz, the President of the Chamber of Commerce, and also we have Ms. Janet Miller, the Chief Economic Development Officer before us, and Ms. Debbie Dale Mason is also in the gallery. Before you begin your presentation, Mr. Schultz, are you all satisfied with Mayor Dean's proposal for the Chamber of Commerce in this year's budget?
Yes, sir.
All right, you may continue with your presentation.
Well, thank you very much. Chairman Matthews and Vice Chairman Harmon and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to visit today with you about the partnership contract that exists between the city and the chamber. This contract has a long history of generating jobs for this area. And we know that the public-private partnership, as you will see in this presentation, creates the opportunity and the support of private industry that's leveraged on that public investment. It takes great public policy and great private investment to cause an economy to prosper as ours has. And I think one of the great tributes to the devotion of this community, including our public officials, to prosperity is the fact that the Bureau of Labor and Statistics just a couple of weeks ago identified that in 2012 the Nashville area was #1 in job growth in the country over the last year. So I just want to emphasize how much we appreciate the opportunity to partner with you and to share with you the details of our contract. Here is our Chief Economic Development Officer, Janet Miller.
Janet, the microphone directly in front of you, if you want to pull that up.
Oh, right here, great. Okay. That sounds great. Thank you. It is a real honor to be here with you today. And everybody should have a very brief slide deck that we put together for you. So if you don't mind, I'll kind of quickly talk you through this, and then we're excited about taking your questions as well. So if you look back, this has really been a 20-year partnership between the City of Nashville and the private sector. And public-private partnerships in metro areas are the successful economies in America today. So we've been at this 20 years together. And a lot of jobs have been created. 258,000 jobs created here. Just in the last 2 years, our team has put hands on 6,412 new jobs in Davidson County from the results of our work. And again, I think it's something Ralph mentioned. We should all be incredibly proud in this room that together we were the #1 city in America, population over 1 million, for job growth last year. So our view is it's a long-term partnership and it is working, and that's something we should all be very proud of. If you take a look how the funding works in this public-private partnership on your next slide, you'll see that the Metro contract with Nashville Chamber for $300,000 is then leveraged into $3.7 million of private sector dollars. And if you'll see, the percentage of the Metro investment has actually declined over the last few years. And we feel great that it is a good balance of investment, but we're really excited that the private sector says we appreciate that this is a partnership and we're willing to invest in growing this economy. So what does the money pay for? That's a very valid question, and if you'll flip to your next slide, essentially there's 3 areas that the contract with the Chamber funds in economic development. #1 is project management of relocating companies and existing Davidson County companies. So over the last 12 months, we have project managed 106 relocation projects and expansion projects just in the last 12 months. We've had 25 multi-day site visits. As Lady Gilmore mentioned, these people are coming in from LA and Chicago all the time, and it's our job to take them around, introduce them to the political officials, and be sure that we promote this market, because they're getting on a plane and they're going to Charlotte, North Carolina, and they're going to Austin, Texas, as well as coming to Nashville. So it's really the project management. And if you'll look at it, almost $400 million of investment in the last 12 months, and 1.4 million square feet of space has been consumed in Davidson County by that. The second piece of it is it's a very research-driven project. So every client shows up with a about a 50-page spreadsheet for you to fill out that's got Nashville, Charlotte, Austin across the top, and a whole lot of number crunching. So we actually competed 48 RFIs over the last 12 months that result in these successful projects. And we'll show you samples, but this year we decided we are competing with the best in the country, in the world, and that every one of our marketing materials needed to reflect that. So we've completely revamped them. The final piece of it is what we call top of the funnel activity, which is creating more awareness of Nashville as a great place for business. So this is our outbound marketing, advertising, direct mail to clients to be sure when they start looking at the universe of cities that Nashville is going to be on that list and that we can work them through successfully to close. And I'll touch a little bit on that in just a moment. On the next slide, we'll show you that this is a regional economy. Outside corporations view it. But if you will take a look at the next slide, Davidson County by far is landing the lion's share of the jobs that our team and the 12 people who do this full-time at my shop do every single day. So almost 13,000 jobs in this time frame, and then falling off from there within the region. So it is a regional approach, and that is how, again, the successful economies in America are approaching it, because corporations are looking at it that way. And then the next slide is just a touch, and I know you know most of these names because you each did amazing work for a lot of these to land these successful projects. But we've had a good 12 months here. The Parallon HCA deal on West End is an economy changer. I think that we will see into perpetuity. Oberto, you all voted on that. That was an international search that was either going to South America or to Nashville. So again, great names, a bunch of different kinds of companies, and a lot of jobs over the last 12 months that we have been very honored to help project manage and bring to successful fruition. Thought you might like to take a look at what the marketing tools look like. And this is just a sample of what an RFI looks like when a company asks for information about Nashville. So you can drop in a video. This is actually a video that the Music Council did that we use for a entertainment company prospect. But again, you'll see the website. This is one of the top-rated economic development websites in America, statistically based on traffic. And the website is NashvilleAreaInfo.com. It's exclusively for economic development purposes. In the past year, we have learned getting on the road and going face-to-face with the customer is one of the most important things that we've done. Matt Wilshire has been all over the country this year, along with our team. Mayor Dean has traveled with us. We plan on keeping a very robust travel schedule this year, with particular emphasis on California and Illinois, because there's some tax things going on in those states that makes them particularly prime to make the Nashville low operating cost environment story. So a little bit about our face-to-face marketing with 7 out-of-market trips that we took in the past year. And then the final slide I wanted to share with you is just very early results of a new campaign that we're very excited about that you all voted to support a couple of months ago, which is our campaign called Work at Nashville. And this is to help fill the technology positions in this market, which we have found. We just were named this week by Forbes magazine one of the top 10 markets in America for technology jobs. We've got to be sure we have the workforce to fill those jobs. So the Work at Nashville campaign, we have 1/4 of results, and we've already had 475 people in 31 states and 6 countries put their resumes online, say, I want to move to Nashville, and see if they can't find a job here. So it's early results, but we wanted to share that with you because we so appreciated the council's support of that campaign. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Mr. Schultz here and wrap up.
Let me just summarize very quickly. Number one, the economic environment we enjoy is a great indication of good public policy and great private investment. You see on this last page of our slide deck that for every $1 we invest in the partnership activity, we generate $260 of regional economic growth. that has caused this area, caused the Nashville region, and Nashville in particular, to be one of the top producing economic regions and locations in the world. So we appreciate the opportunity to work with you. We appreciate the many opportunities we've had, particularly recently, to meet with you one-on-one and meet with you in your district. Those are the kinds of things we'd like to continue to do, and we very much appreciate your approval of this contract.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Councilman Stein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Janet, how many folks work with you on this at the Chamber?
In the economic development team, we have 11 people on that team, and then our research team is in addition to that. So there's about 13 people dedicated full-time to job creation solely at the Chamber.
Well, I think this public-private partnership is a bargain, but let's just draw it out. Mr. Wilshire, will you grab the microphone? How many folks, Matt, work with you on behalf of the city in this area?
One.
And
Well, right, yes, Chris Parham works with me.
okay. Just very briefly, I mean, my assumption is, based on everything I know, that you and Janet and her folks are working hand in hand to get all this done and couldn't do it without each other. But can you give any estimate as what it would take if we did the work that the Chamber is doing internally in the government?
I would think that for us to maintain the impact that we have, we would have to significantly increase the staffing. I mean, the Chamber provides a lot of valuable work for us, and yeah, I mean, we simply could not do what we do without their work. I mean, I don't know how many people, I haven't added it up, but there are at least 2 people who are dedicated to existing businesses, and we significantly leverage the other professionals within the Chamber.
Well, and this very simply is the way a public-private partnership ought to go. I would argue the private sector might say the public ought to maybe providing a little bit more, but clearly you all couldn't do all this together, and this isn't a $1.8 billion budget. This is an absolute bargain. I would also say to you, Ralph, that as we collectively beat on you all, you need to know that we all appreciate Debbie Dale Mason, regardless of what we are doing or saying about the Chamber at any given point in time, and we're glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Stein. Councilman Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ralph, I was looking at this number in terms of job creation, 3,516, and I know this happened last year, but in my district, because I know some of your people was out there doing the Walmart, the Lowe's, and Fontenelle, matter of fact. Between those 3 entities, there were some 1,800 jobs created, just those 3, and that's in the conservative figure. How did y'all count? Would y'all have counted in these numbers then if you was doing that? How do you keep that up? Because I saw you guys out there,
Sure.
but I never knew that where and when the number reflected that we had those jobs created.
That is a really excellent question. I'm so glad you asked that. The number that you see here are companies that are mid to large size companies that are office operations, industrial operations, distribution clients that we project manage. There are many, many hundreds and thousands more jobs that are created in additional companies in town that the Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks that data. For the purpose of this, we showed this because we wanted you to know what we have personally put our hands on through project management. But you are correct. Many more hundreds and thousands are created in the service sector, through retail, through the spinoff of creating these sort of primary sector jobs. Does that answer?
Yeah, it does, because I'm being involved with it myself, and I know there was 2.5 shifts at Walmart, and which is a ton of people.
Right.
Then you had Lowe's that was running from 6 to 10, which that's about 2 shifts. And then you got Fontenelle down there, and they're just all over the map down there. And I know my estimate would say that was at least 1,800 jobs. And I was just wondering, where do they show up? And I never did see them.
Exactly.
And I just want to know.
I will tell you that for the Middle Tennessee area over the last calendar year, the Bureau of Labor Statistics says that we created almost 30,000 new jobs in Middle Tennessee. So you are correct. This number are the ones that my team have driven around town, helped with facilities. The number for the entire economy is almost 10 times this, and that picks up your Lowe's, your Walmarts, your Fontanelles, your Opry Mills, and then the ones and twos that small businesses are adding that are impossible for us to know about. I'm really glad you brought that up for clarification.
Okay, thank you. And Ralph, I hope you get the feeling better because Debbie says she can't take it much longer.
Thank you, Councilman Hunt. Councilman Tiger.
Thank you, and I'd echo Councilman Stein's comments on the bang for the buck. I just want to make sure that every municipality, small and large, has had an opportunity to see these numbers and been given the opportunity to make the investment, because I'm assuming that the more private dollars, the more public dollars that are put in, that would help to attract more private dollars also. And just want to make sure that these communities and counties that are reaping the benefits of your hard work are given an opportunity to make it even better.
Councilman Tiger, actually in the last year, the contribution made by those other entities has risen 27%, and we continue to grow that. So we're well aware of the need to engage them.
Thank you, Councilman Tiger. Councilor Dow.
Thank you. I just want to say that I definitely echo Councilman Stein's comments about the bargain that we're getting for the work you're doing, especially when you look at it in comparison to other cities our size, even smaller, like Chattanooga, who spends a significant amount of money with their chamber. And you can see the results because they have gotten quite a few big businesses there. So I wouldn't be opposed to, looking at how we can strengthen that relationship, because we do need business out in the suburbs. But I wanted to just kind of talk about the Work IT campaign and the money there that we spent. And I know that you've heard me say this before, but I agreed to spend the money and voted in favor of that so we could do this marketing campaign. But what I would like to see in the future, that if we're going to approve money, like as a collective group, that we advertise and market and sell all communities, because we were, a lot of people in our area was very disappointed that, they contributed toward this campaign, but we were not even mentioned in it, and then retrospectively put up on the website, and the information is not correct. So I would just hope that as we go forward and we allocate money to strengthen our chamber, to support business expansion in Nashville and attract more in our city, that we look at marketing all of our communities, because we have a real asset out in that southeastern portion of the county, because that's where we have a lot of diversity. And working with IT, as I stated before, that's where a lot of people want to be when they come into the city. We deal a lot with people from other countries coming in doing contract type work for IT, since we don't have the population here. It's a real asset to be able to show them that we have that corner of the city for them. So thank you for the work that you do. I just wanted to point that out.
And I will say that publication will be reprinted within the next month or so, and all of that will be added. But thank you so much for that input. We took that very seriously, your comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dow. Councilor Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Janet. I think the work that you do is awesome, and Debbie Dale is awesome to work with. And we can't deny that. The chamber, you guys are working your behinds off. I've heard people from Charlotte share that you guys are leading in terms of just bringing different groups here. So I have to give you kudos on that. So I have to do full disclosure. I live across from the Bicentennial Mall. I feel like it's an artery into downtown. I represent the downtown area, but I would like to see us sell that a little bit more, because downtown is definitely the heart, but I feel like by the Bicentennial Mall, it's an artery into downtown. So I would like for us to take advantage of that. It's by 2 interstates. It's the Bicentennial Mall, a lot of Jefferson Street, without a doubt, a lot of state offices, a lot of city offices. So that's the only thing that I would ask. But you guys are doing a rocking and rolling job. I would be lying if I didn't say you were.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
But please take that into consideration. Keep the arteries pumping.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Gilmore. Councilman Claiborne.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilman Stans, I will applaud his analogy also, and I'm sure that we couldn't hire 13 people for $300,000, so money well spent, and y'all do a good job. I did have a question about the slide on the Nashville region where you have all the counties listed. Out of those counties that are listed there, how many of them actually participate with you monetarily?
A great question. Every single one of the counties participate with us monetarily.
Okay.
And that was a big change because that wasn't the case. But we really, I think we've listened to you and we've paid attention to it. And as Ralph mentioned, they are all have stake in it and they have grown it considerably. And that is a very important strategy for us, is to keep pushing on that. But every single one through different entities, it could be the city government, the county government, the IDB board, but every county has skin in this game to date,
Right.
and we're very proud that we got to that point.
Good, thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Claiborne. Councilman Domine, and it is the order you push your button in, so it's not just that you're at the bottom of the list.
That's all right. Well, I know the committee gets to speak first, so, and I'm not on this committee, but appreciate the recognition. Ralph, and can you please provide me the total public investment by by the various counties participating?
We can provide that to you if you like after this meeting. I don't know those specific numbers at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, if you'd like to see a listing, we can provide
that. And the county by county would be great. The amounts that they provide, that would be great. I know before we were paying 3/4 of the total public investment and getting a little over 1/3 of the return, which is not necessarily the best deal. And I just want to see where that stands. I'm glad that everybody's participating. All counties are participating. That's a good thing. That's moving in the right direction. Appreciate it.
And we'll continue to, anyone that has questions after this hearing, we're happy to visit with you and answer any other questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Domine. Councilman Glover.
Janet, just quickly, I don't remember the exact number. I think it was like 19,000 was going to be the work number shortage for IT positions by 2020. Am I remembering correctly?
Yes. In the workforce study that was done, there was going to be a shortage between now and 2020 in that vicinity, correct?
Okay. With the Work It project and the other things, do you feel like that we've kind of turned that and bringing it back to where we won't necessarily have that shortage? We're obviously, you guys are doing a great job in addressing it and realizing that we've got a future problem and dealing with it today.
You want to answer that?
Yes.
Thank you.
You know, the Work It project is really kind of a template. As we look out in the future, having adequate workforce is the key issue facing economic growth in this area going forward. What we've done with the Work It program is take our recruitment techniques that were applied to recruiting businesses to the area and now apply them to recruiting talent to the area. There will be other categories of talent that we have to recruit because the deficit through 2020 is actually about 23,000 jobs. Okay. So we'll need to continue that.
And it's got the education piece comes on top of it because we've got to be sure that the education system is turning out the workforce to meet the needs. So, but this is a very good start of out-of-market recruitment to help attract talent while we're working on the more systemic long-term solution.
Excellent. And I would be remorse to not mention there's about 25 acres in District 12 that's available for commercial development.
We keep a spreadsheet in my office, so be sure I've got it on the list.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Glover. Councilman Glover, I'm sorry. Seeing no other council members in queue, I'd like to thank the Chamber for their contribution to the city and the partnership, and this concludes your hearing.